Today's Indian civilization and Hindu religion can be traced back to the Gupta Empire, but direct link from other civilizations like Mauryan Empire or Indus Valley civilization Harappans cannot be proved, and only speculations that Vedic period texts may have influenced Hinduism but isn't a direct link from the Vedic civilization to today's Indian civilization. Today's Indian Hindu culture cannot be directly traced back to any civilization preceding the Gupta Empire. There is no clear link to the Vedic period, and even the Mauryan Empire, despite its prominence, doesn't provide a direct connection to Hinduism or contemporary Indian Hindu culture. This is especially notable as the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka was Buddhist but also known for religious tolerance, indicating a diverse religious landscape. It's important to note that influences do not necessarily signify a direct continuation of a civilization. The popularity of rap music among today's Indian youth is a striking example. Despite its recent American origins, it can be traced back to Africa some 400 years ago. However, enjoying this music doesn't equate to Indian civilization being a continuation of its African roots. Similarly, Hinduism's complexity is an outcome of a myriad of influences over time. The Indus Valley civilization doesn't share a direct link with modern Hindu Indian culture. While the IVC was a complex society, it vanished from historical records around 1900 BCE. DNA evidence suggests its people might have migrated to Afghanistan or other parts of Pakistan, possibly assimilating into other cultures. The Mauryan Empire, established in the 4th century BCE, held power in South Asia for over 2 centuries before its decline. In contrast, the Gupta Empire's 4th century CE founding marked a golden age for Indian culture. This era witnessed the development of concepts integral to Hinduism today. The intricate query of whether Hinduism parallels the Vedic texts' development or descends from them defies a straightforward answer. Insufficient definitive evidence supports either stance. Hinduism's potential as a parallel development means it and the Vedic texts evolved independently, yet share analogous ideas and practices. The common human inclination for ritual and symbolism, along with the shared Indian subcontinent Middle East environment, could have fueled this. Alternatively, Hinduism may have descended from the Vedic texts, adapting over time with contributions from other cultures. Some evidence corroborates this theory, as numerous Vedic concepts resurface in Hinduism. The assertion that modern Indian civilization and Hinduism trace exclusively to the Gupta Empire is speculative. Given the dearth of evidence predating this era, certainty eludes us. Underpinning this debate is the recognition that shared ideas don't unequivocally indicate a religious relationship. Multiple religions share similar ideas, such as belief in a single god, afterlife, and ritual significance. Two examples are Judaism and Hinduism, both acknowledging a single god and reincarnation, despite differing fundamentally. The analogy extends to modern Indian culture embracing Hindi and Telugu rap music. Its popularity among Indian youth doesn't denote an inherent link to its African origins via America's influence. Similarly, the presence of similar rituals and beliefs in various civilizations worldwide doesn't necessarily prove a genetic relationship. Indeed, no single definition of religion exists. It's intricate and multi-layered, demanding comprehensive historical, textual, and practical study to discern interconnections. The Vedic texts, authored between 1500 to 600 BCE, laid Hinduism's groundwork but lack a definitive link. Sanskrit, their medium, expired a millennium before the Gupta Empire, making the direct study by Gupta scholars unlikely. Influence from other cultures or religions doesn't ascertain a civilization's continuation. Hinduism, its culture, and traditions likely absorb diverse influences, shaping its current form. Parallels with the Gupta Empire might be coincidental rather than linear. Considering that, tracing the Vedic texts' first study and integration into Hinduism is daunting. Panini's Ashtadhyayi 500 BCE exemplifies Sanskrit's continued importance post-Vedic. Although a grammar text, it doesn't harbor religious or philosophical themes. True, Panini's 5th century BCE Ashtadhyayi enriched Sanskrit scholarship but not necessarily Hinduism's origin. A more complex narrative interweaves the Vedic texts, Hinduism, and Indian civilization. Hinduism's evolution spans centuries, challenging pinpointing a sole influencer. The Upanishads 800 to 500 BCE intricately interweave Vedic tenets, showcasing ongoing reinterpretation. Common idea's existence doesn't mandate direct lineage. Independent evolution can yield analogous concepts. For instance, reincarnation spans Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. These independent parallel developments overshadow notions of borrowing. In the case of Upanishads and Hinduism, a potential direct link is visible. For instance, Upanishads are referenced in other Hindu texts, like the Bhagavad Gita. This suggests Upanishads' significance in early Hindu thought. However, alternate influences can't be dismissed. Some suggest Upanishads were influenced by Buddhism's ideas. Thus, determining a direct Upanishad-Hinduism link remains intricate. There's no universal rule that shared concepts indicate direct lineage. All evidence, including historical context, similarities, differences, and potential contact, must be weighed. Tracing the first study of Vedic texts' integration into Hinduism defies easy resolution. Many events contributed. 1500 to 600 BCE, Vedic texts are authored. 500 BCE, Panini composes the Ashtadhyayi. 800 to 500 BCE, Upanishads are written. 320 to 550 CE, Gupta Empire zenith. 11th century CE, Bhakti movement commences. 19th century CE, Hindu Renaissance emerges. Nonetheless, no direct Panini Hinduism connection surfaces. Complexities emerge from the evolving understanding of this ancient lineage. It's true that Sanskrit's demise predates the Gupta Empire, yet the Vedic text's relevance persists. Despite the language barrier, these texts are still explored in translation and remain pivotal to Hindu practices. In the end, while Sanskrit's fall aligns with the Gupta period, the Vedic text's legacy prevails in modern Hinduism. This intricate relationship is emblematic of a continually evolving tradition's complexity. While Sanskrit's obsolescence by the Gupta Empire can't be ignored, the Vedic texts retain significance in modern Hinduism. Their enduring impact defies temporal constraints. The IVC's lack of substantial DNA connection doesn't negate cultural ties. DNA is a single facet of identity, not a sole determinant. Modern Hindu-Indian culture emerges from a multifaceted tapestry, influenced by diverse sources. Hinduism's current richness stems from various influences: IVC, Mauryan Empire, Gupta Empire, and Vedic texts. Singularly attributing it to one civilization is overly simplistic. Indian culture encompasses diverse influences like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. The trajectory isn't traceable to a single origin but shaped by centuries of interactions. The Gupta Empire's significance in Indian civilization is undeniable, yet it isn't the sole precursor. Pre-Gupta origins remain speculative, awaiting definitive evidence. Historical understanding constantly evolves with new discoveries. While a direct Vedic Hinduism link isn't established, this might change with future evidence. Certainly, cultural ties extend beyond genetics. Indian culture's rich tapestry includes diverse elements. Just as modern rap music's popularity doesn't necessitate African origins, Indian culture's complexity goes beyond singular influences. Hinduism's growth isn't confined to a specific source. It's a conglomerate of varied influences, the Vedic texts being just one. Other factors like Upanishads and Puranas shape its diversity. Modern Indian civilization is the product of a complex interplay of various historical, cultural, and religious forces. Its evolution has been shaped by a multitude of factors, including the assimilation of diverse traditions, beliefs, and practices. In this intricate tapestry, the Vedic texts play a significant role, serving as a foundation for many aspects of Hinduism. These ancient texts, composed between 1500 to 600 BCE, introduced key concepts that continue to influence Hindu thought. However, the exact relationship between the Vedic texts and modern Hinduism remains a subject of scholarly debate. It's important to acknowledge that cultural and religious evolution is seldom a linear process. Influences from different civilizations and time periods can intermingle, leading to the complex amalgamation that defines a culture. The same applies to Hinduism, which has absorbed ideas not only from the Vedic texts but also from subsequent developments like the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Puranas. The Gupta Empire, often considered a golden age of Indian civilization, contributed to the enrichment of Hindu thought and culture. However, it is not the sole source of Hinduism's development. Hinduism's journey encompasses a vast timeline and a diverse range of influences, both internal and external. In conclusion, understanding the evolution of modern Indian Hindu culture requires a nuanced perspective that considers the interactions, influences, and adaptations that have shaped it over millennia. While the Vedic texts and the Gupta Empire are integral parts of this narrative, they are not the sole determinants. The richness of Hinduism and Indian civilization emerges from a blend of ancient heritage, cultural crossroads, and ongoing reinterpretation.